It's Thursday and we're in Simpsonville, South Carolina. It's a beautiful day outside. It's cool. Went down into the upper to mid 30s last night, and today it's still pretty cool, but we'll be warming up for the Easter weekend. Romans chapter 12, verses 9 through 11. It's incredible what words mean and how there's so many things to remember. Wednesday night, we have a little different kind of service at Temple Baptist Church, and the fact that that is our equivalent of a Sunday night worship, and Sunday night is an equivalent of a prayer meeting. So the pastor was on spring break with his family, and he asked me if I would do the service, but he had also scheduled the Lord's Supper. That's somewhat limiting because we know it takes a little time to serve that, but it was also a wonderful opportunity for me to share the beautiful typology of the Passover as Jesus brought it into clear focus through the Lord's Supper. However, I had so many things that I wanted to say to the church, knowing that I may never have another chance to speak to them as a visiting pastor. And so I had so many things I wanted to speak to them that I still left out one important thing, because as many of you that belong to Southside Baptist Church know, I enjoy using matzah instead of the little tiny wafers that so many churches use. And the reason I like to do that is because it is actually the official Jewish cracker, if you will, and it is symbolic of unleavened bread. Although the Jews don't do this deliberately, obviously because many of them don't believe in Jesus, it has holes pierced in it, just as it would have been roasted over the fire in the days of Jesus. And it has burn marks, or not burn marks, but browning marks across the wafer or the cracker. And so we can say that symbolically we were able to look at the matzah and say he was pierced through for our transgressions, and by his stripes we are healed. I left that totally out of my message last night, but there were so many other things that I wanted to share with them about Passover. I'm sure they'll forgive me. They probably will still wonder why we had such funny looking wafers last night. Anyway, Romans chapter 12, verses 9 through 11, and we move from using your gifts in the church to now using grace in the church. Let me say that again for you. We move from using your gifts in the church to using grace in the church. The same kind of grace that God offers to us is the kind of grace that we need to offer to other members and to our families and to those that are around us. Now, I listed 25 characteristics of good conduct or guides to what a Christian should live. We're going to just take 5 each day for the next couple of days. The first one is, it says to love without hypocrisy. I remember hearing a woman say to her then 20-some daughter, it doesn't take any more effort to love a rich man than it does to love a poor man. What was she saying? Well, marry wealth. It's just as easy to love and to marry wealth as it is to love and marry poverty. That's hypocrisy, isn't it? I mean, if the amount of wealth somebody has is a measure of that union, then where does love fit in? And so here we're told to love without hypocrisy, to love in a reality and Christ kind of love. The second one is to abhor what is evil. Now, abhor is really a great word. The New American Standard uses that word because it captures the fact that we detest, that we are adamantly against, and we're adamantly against evil. That's abortion. That's homosexuality. That's any kind of sin, disrespect to parents, anything that the Bible calls sin, anything displeasing to God. We're to abhor it. We're to hate it. We're to dislike it in such a great way that we would never do it. The third thing is to cling to what is good. Notice these key words: love, abhor, and now cling. Cling means to hold on to what is good. No matter what, no matter how shaken by the world around us, we hang on to what is good. We hang on to our faith and our devotion to Christ. Number 4 is devoted to one another in a brotherly love. Devoted. That means a dedicated relationship, a caring relationship, a loving relationship. We're devoted to that relationship. And then to give preference to one another in honor. That means we put others first. When we first had our children and our children were growing up, we would sometimes give a candy bar to our son and say, share that with your sister. Well, most of you know what happens when you do that. A child will break the candy bar in half, maybe deliberately making one half bigger than the other, or maybe it just happens that way and it breaks so one side's bigger than the other. And our son would do what many children do. He would hold the two halves up against each other, and the biggest half he gave to his sister, giving preference to one another in honor. What a wonderful thing that was to see the generosity and the lack of selfishness in our son's life. Let me just repeat them again for you. Let's practice grace as well as our gifts in the church. Let's practice grace as well as our gifts in our community. Let's practice these things as a way of life. To love without hypocrisy, to abhor, to hate what is evil, to cling to that which is good, and to be devoted to one another and giving preference to one another in honor. That's your thought for the day. God bless you and have a great day.